Hey, what's going on, Big Brother Canada fans? My name is Chris, and welcome to the Screen This Big Brother Canada Season 4, Episode 3 recap, brought to you by Morty's TV. Head on over to mortystv.com/bbcanada for live feed updates, and there's even a chat room where you can chat with other Big Brother Canada fans. Alright, everyone. Well, see, Episode 3 was kind of a letdown. I mean, it's so early in the season, and most of these episodes should be like extremely intense, lots going on, but it was just an episode that kind of fell flat. But you know what? We still need to talk about it because you're either watching this because you missed the episode and you need a quick recap, or you did watch it and you wanted someone else's opinion on it. So, well, here's my opinion on it. There we go. Better English. Anyway, the episode kicks off with Levita upset that people wanted to keep a showmance, and of course, Phil is glad because there's going to be two bigger targets than him and his brother, which, of course, in the very first episode of the season, they kind of had a target on their back. Tim and Nikki, the international house guests, they enter the house, and about half of the house guests go up the stairs to greet them, and then the other half don't. And one of those house guests that didn't greet them was Christine, and she just had this pissed off look on her face. She was not happy about what just happened. Of course, Tim and Nikki have their own introductions, and in case you didn't know about this, the UK and Australia version of Big Brother, it's actually the public voting, and there's no challenge, there's no games or anything like that. So, it's definitely a different take. Big Brother Canada and the US version is completely different than what Tim and Nikki have been playing. So, again, this is something that I was saying, I didn't mention this part last week, or in the last episode, but it was one of those moments where it was like, everyone's pissed, saying it's not fair, blah, 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 that they're entering the house, they've already played the game, but again, it's a completely different game when you throw challenges into it, and then you gotta actually be buddy-buddy with people in the house and stuff, not just you can't just think, oh, I need to do this because the public will love me to do this. Or, you're always thinking about the public because they're the ones voting. Now, it doesn't matter about the public, you need to worry about who's in the house and how they're going to keep you safe. Nikki actually started to have a little bit of a breakdown in the house. She started crying and all this kind of stuff, and because like I said, it's a different game for her, and it was one of those moments where she was just it's not really a cultural shock. I mean, there may have been a little bit of a cultural shock because she's obviously around different types of people. But at the same time, it was kind of it was actually uncomfortable when you're watching her cry, and it just didn't look good. On to the HoH competition. Arissa will read a sentence about one of the house guests from a viewer, and the house guests need to buzz in and answer who they think the viewer is talking about. Of course, this is the first house guest to buzz in. So if you buzz in and you're right, you actually get to choose who to eliminate. And of course, if you get it wrong, you're out. So I'll actually break it down for all of you. Obviously, we've got a lot of house guests, so this could drag on a little bit, but I'll try to keep it quick. So Kelsey is the first to get it right, and she takes out Maddie. Of course, right? No real surprise there. Then Kelsey gets the second question right, and she takes out Shari. Again, no real surprise there. Dallas gets the third question right, and he knocks out Cassandra. Kelsey gets the next question right, and she kicks out Ramsey. And then, holy shit, Kelsey buzzes in the next time, and unfortunately, she gets it wrong, so now she's out. Dallas gets the next question right, and he knocks out Raul. Dallas again, but he takes himself out by answering incorrectly. Now it's Phil's turn. He buzzes in for the next question, but he's incorrect. And then Mitch gets the next question right, and he takes out Christine. So the final three is Joel, Jared, and Mitch. Mitch answers the question again, but he is wrong, And apparently he meant to answer incorrectly because he didn't want to win HOH. So the final two is Joel and Jared, and they have not answered a single question. Pretty good. So who gets the last question right? It's Jared. So that means Jared is your new HOH. What a turn of events. I said at the beginning of the episode, at the beginning of this, this episode recap, that this episode kind of falls flat. You can probably see why now, because Jared is the HOH. So you probably know who's going to get nominated and kind of how the rest of this episode plays out. Anyway, we now see Maddie, Levita, and Shari talking about the HOH competition and how they didn't want Jared or Kelsey to win, of course. And then we see footage of a deal being made with the three of them and Dallas and Ramsey to evict Kelsey last week. It wasn't really clear if this was like an alliance that they made. I mean, there were no alliance names or anything like that. It was more of just, hey, let's make a deal together to take out Kelsey. So I don't think it's an alliance. Levita and Shari decide to talk to Kelsey, and Levita wanted to be honest and open with Kelsey of what just happened while Levita was HOH and why she nominated her and all that kind of stuff. But the best part is Kelsey didn't take it. There's a lot of times where house guests, like one house guest will apologize to another and say, oh, I did this because I think you're strong, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? It's all, water under the bridge. Let's move past that. Let's move past what happened and let's be friends and let's talk game and stuff like that. And the other house guest is like, yeah, sure, no problem, right? Because they don't want to cause drama. They don't want to do any of that kind of stuff, right? But like I said, Kelsey did not take it. She just basically called Levita a liar and just didn't want to talk game with her anymore. And good on her. I mean, this was probably the most dramatic thing that happened in this entire episode, and it lasted maybe like 2 minutes from beginning to end, not just Kelsey ripping Levita's ears off for 2 minutes. But yeah, Levita basically I know her intentions were right, but she basically just dug her grave a little bit more. She dug a bit of a bigger hole for herself. Now we see Tim and a bunch of other house guests, like Jared's there, Kelsey's there, Phil I think is there, maybe Nick, a few other people. And Tim's strategy is basically to play dumb. He said he's watched Big Brother Canada and he knows he knows what the rules are and all that kind of stuff. But he plays dumb with the house guests and he's like, oh, how does this work, or what happens if this happens, and blah, blah, blah. He's asking about backdoors, how that works, all that kind of stuff. And then it's kind of hilarious because Jared and Kelsey, I mean, in my opinion, they're not the smartest tools in the shed. But they basically just tell Tim exactly what the game plan is for this week. He was saying that, Kelsey said that Levita and Shari are really close, so that one of them should go up, they both should go up. And then Jared said, if one of them does come down, that he would put up Maddie. I mean, no real surprise here, right? This is just kind of common sense if you really follow the show. I mean, not much has really happened. There's no secret deals or anything like that. So it's right there for you to really understand what's going on. And this is no real surprise at all. But it's funny because I understand, they want to get close with Tim, they want to build up that trust, they want Tim on their side, but to just tell him the entire game plan for the week, Tim could easily just head off to the other side of the house and be like, this is going to happen, this, and this is their plan, and blah, 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 I mean, it's still a little too early, and they, the international house guests, Tim and Nikki, do kind of have a bit of a big target on their back. So, I don't think he's going to do it this early in the game. We now have a have-not competition. It's called Wheel of Meals. House guests are split into teams of 3. Then one house guest from each team gets strapped to a wheel when 2 house guests spin the wheel for 90 seconds. The amount of spins that were completed in the 90 seconds would determine how many paint balloons you would get. Now, what do they use, what do they do with these paint balloons? Okay, well, on the wheel, there's a bunch of targets, and it's food items. Pizza, steak, cheese, milk, you know, everything you can think of. So now what they do is each team has to use these paint balloons and throw and knock these targets down. The teams that knock the most targets will be safe, and of course the one team that knocks the least amount of targets will be the have-nots. And the have-nots this week, unfortunately, it's not a good week for Levita and Shari, but it's Levita, Shari, Cassandra, and Joel. Those are your have-nots. So now Cassandra yells out, it's time to check out the honeymoon suite, which is the have-not room. The theme is this kind of Vegas wedding chapel. I mean, if you saw, you know, there was previews of the house before, and before the show even started, there was like this E.T. video, and you know, I'm sure most of you have seen it. But anyway, the theme is a Vegas wedding chapel, and they have these like short benches, and that's where the house guests have to actually sleep. So it's tough, especially Joel, who's a really tall guy. It's gonna suck for him to sleep on one of those benches. Before the nomination ceremony, Shari visits Jared in the HoH room. She wants to clear the air with him. She wants him to know that she's her own player. A lot of people just kind of put her and Levita together, guilty by association, yada, yada, yada. She's just kind of, you know, she's just going on and on and on. And then we see Levita talking to Jared, and he tells her that the easiest thing for him to do is to put Levita and Shari up. And Levita says, you know, everyone expects that, and he agrees, and, you know, he doesn't have to do it. So this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Levita offers him a pretty substantial deal, and she offers him 5 weeks of safety. And basically this means she will not put him on the block. So he's guaranteed safety for the week, and she will listen to him to whatever he wants his vote to go to. So if he wants, you know, Maddie gone, she's gonna vote for Maddie. So that's pretty huge. I mean, you know, look, this is the game of Big Brother. Everyone makes deals, and sometimes they don't stick to those deals. So, you know, can we agree that Levita will keep the deal? It's tough to say, right? She obviously knows that she's in a bad spot this week, and offering that to Jared, you know, at least she tried, and that's exactly what she says in the episode. It's like, I'd rather ask the question and offer him a deal than do nothing. And it's true. You know, you don't want to just do nothing and then play the what-if game, right? Unfortunately, since Jared doesn't want to cause any waves in the house, he takes the easy road and he nominates Shari and Levita. Again, no real surprise there. And that was the end of the episode. That wraps up the episode 3 recap, everyone. Hopefully Wednesday's episode is going to be a little bit more entertaining. We'll have the POV, so that will be interesting because, you know, if Levita or Shari wins, or even Maddie might help him out. A few other people, maybe Ramsey, maybe Dallas, because of that whole, again, not sure if it's an alliance or not. But, you know, whoever wins the POV, then, you know, someone can come down, and then maybe Maddie's probably going to go up. So, I don't know, maybe it's just it's one of those weeks where it's like, oh, great, we know exactly what's going to happen. Hopefully not, right? We all want the drama, we all want some entertainment. Anyway, like I said, that wraps up episode 3 recap. Make sure to follow me on SoundCloud, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You can subscribe on iTunes and YouTube. I've got this recap always in a podcast format and YouTube format. So lots of options for my fans, my viewers, and you can actually get all the links, all the information, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff at my website at www.screenthis.ca. I actually have a newsletter as well, so in case you ever forget to check my site, you can actually subscribe to the newsletter, and I usually send out about 2 emails a week. I do Big Brother recaps, and I also have movie advanced screening contests. And if you don't know what that is, check out my site, and you'll figure out what that is. Until next time, everyone, I'm Chris, and I'm out.